Video games are art, bro. So today, guys, what I want to talk about is books, video games, and me. I don't want to have a very super broad discussion about video games and books, or whether or not they're art, or whether or not they're literature. And if you want a really comprehensive discussion on that topic, I'm going to link down below. Ariel Bassett did a video on that subject a year ago, and it's absolutely fantastic and great, so check it out. What I want to do in today's video is grapple with one simple question, and that question is, what's the more immersive medium, video games or novels? Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because just a few weeks ago I was reading this author interview in the New York Times, or it may have been the Paris Review, I can't remember which, and it was this author talking about their childhood reading experiences, and just how, as a kid, they would have these incredibly intense and potent reading experiences where like the realm of fiction and reality really was blurred, and something that they've never quite achieved in adulthood. And this is a description of childhood reading that I've read in more than one interview. It seems to be a common occurrence, except that I can't claim such an experience, and I hate to admit that. I honestly do, because when I think back to my childhood, when I think of that feeling, that potent feeling of like reality and fiction just blurring to like an insane hyperactive degree, I associate that feeling not with novels, but with video games. I don't really like admitting that because, you know, I call myself a writer, I work at a bookstore, I wear big, chunky black glasses, and god damn it, I want a pseudo-magical childhood reading experience as well. I feel like a Philistine without one. To have had really intense video game playing experience doesn't fit with, like, you know, the cool, hipster, bookish persona I try to cultivate. It just doesn't work, and it's ruining my daydreams. But here's the flip side. That feeling that I've been talking about, if I've gotten close to that feeling in my adult life, it is through books rather than video games. When I think of The Goldfinch, Lies of Locke Lamora, Name of the Wind, Talented Mr. Ripley, these novels have transported me out of my room into somewhere else. And when I've recently gone and tried to play video games, I picked up Final Fantasy 13 or, you know, BioShock, these games, they fall flat. I'm bored. I'm unimpressed. The story doesn't feel immersive. Emphasis on that word story. So what's going on here? I think video games, even like the ones I just mentioned, that are, you know, praised for having great storylines, are still not prioritizing narrative. And I think that's because, in many ways, they can't. Their medium forces them to, you know, make worlds that can be interacted with, explored through. Both video games and books can be said to be interactive, and both can be said to have narratives, but just to varying degrees. So I think I've come to the conclusion that video games by necessity emphasize interaction, and whereas books do the opposite, emphasizing narrative. So then, to return to my initial question, I think I have a very simple and maybe obvious conclusion, but one that I was very happy to reach on my own. Neither books nor video games are more immersive than the other. They just go about creating that immersion, that sort of imaginary, potent feeling, through different means. For books, it's through narrative. For video games, it's through interaction. And so I think it really just comes down to a personal preference, which one you find more immersive. So those are just some of my thoughts concerning video games and books and what connects them and how they're different, my own personal experience grappling with the two mediums. If you have any thoughts on the relation between books and video games, please comment down below. If you think one's more immersive than the other, let me know. And while I know this video wasn't a broad discussion of whether books are video games are literature or art, if you want to get into that discussion with me down below, please do. If you like this video, please like it, and if you really liked it, please subscribe. Until next time, happy reading. Bye bye bye. Click A to lift arm.